Hello class and welcome back. In our first video for Project 8, you can see that we have our poster.indd file created, and we have our margins and our bleed set up, and we're ready to move forward. So the first thing in this project that we're going to need to explore is getting our particular color panels and our swatches set up. Now to get to this, you can see I actually already have the colors panel right here, and I have the swatches panel right here as well. In the book, I know it gives you a little bit different way of getting to these, but if you do not see these panels over to the side over here, you can go to Window, Workspace, Essentials. You can either select Essentials if something else has a checkmark by it, or you can hit Reset Essentials. And once you do that, you can see that you have your swatches over here, the CSD library, so on and so forth. So, to get to swatches, again, we can just click it here, or again, if it's not showing, you can also go to Windows, Color, and Swatches, or you can hit F5 if you're on a PC to open this. And from here, you can see that we already have several different colors laid in here. We have our basics, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Paper will be used for anything where we want the natural color of the paper to show through or no ink to be printed. Remember that in InDesign there's no such thing as a white ink color that be applied. And that's because in commercial printing processes, whenever we use CYMK to print a file, we're actually mixing cyan, magenta, yellow, and black to get all the other different colors. And so anything that's white is just what's left over and not covered by ink. You can see that we actually have what looks like two different blacks here, registration and black. The difference here is registration is a specific mark for printing plates that will actually be put on every single plate in your process. So it doesn't matter if it's cyan, magenta, yellow, or black, that registration mark will be there, and they are used to help to align the plates during the printing process. Whereas you also have your black down here, which is just your printable black. Do make sure if we, as we use the black color in this project, that you do use black and not registration, because otherwise it will make your final print file look kind of faded out. As far as the different kinds of swatches we can create, you can tell that all these are just different CYMK parameters, but if you come over here and click the arrow, you can see we have a couple other swatches here. We have the new color swatch, which will allow you to make a CYMK swatch, a gradient swatch, which is just what it sounds like, lets you blend two different colors together. And then you see we also have these mixed ink swatches and a tint swatch. A tint swatch I don't use very often, but it can be useful. What you can do is you can take another color and basically reduce the vibrance of it by 60% and save that as a tint. What that means is you can use lighter versions of colors without having to go and try to go through the Pantone book or any of your other color books and try to find that color over again. So it can be useful, especially if you're working with transparency effects and things of that nature. And mixed ink is kind of an odd swatch. You actually have to have what's called a spot color already in your swatches to use this. And what you can do is you can mix spot colors, which are things like Pantone colors or specific PMS colors that have already been dictated by the Pantone Corporation, and process colors, which you can make on your own by mixing any value of C, Y, M, and K. Again, won't be using these that often, but they can be helpful if you're having to create a weird combination of a brand's specific swatch color, but they want to make it a little bit greener or something like that. So to make a new color swatch, we're just going to go up here and click New Color Swatch. And at this point, we're going to make sure that CYMK is our color type, and name with color value is checked. And now we're going to go through and add a color for our project. So in this case, which you can find on page 435 in your text, we're going to make sure that cyan is 0, magenta is 70, yellow is 95, and black is also 0. And you can see we have the preview of this orange color over here. And we're just going to hit OK, and you can see it adds that to our swatches. So we're going to do that 2 more times. By the way, what I just did is I came in here and actually copied the swatch, so I'm going to delete that out. Remember, when you create a new swatch, even though this is technically a new color panel, if you have one already selected, it'll just duplicate it. Versus if you come up here to go to File, New Color Swatch, you can create a new one from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the second one, and this one needs to be cyan 0, magenta 10, yellow 75, and black as 0 again. And you can see we've added that there, and we're going to do this one more time. New color swatch, and we're going to come in here and change this to cyan 0, magenta 40, yellow 0, and black 100. And you can see we've got what looks like a black, but what this really is this is considered a super black or a rich black. And what this means is that we have the black at 100%, but we also have it filled with another color. Sometimes in the printing process, this will lend itself to adding to the richness of the black, making it what's called a warm tone or a cool tone, depending on how much cyan, magenta, or yellow that you add. In this case, just know that it's called a super black and hit OK. Alright, so we have all three of our panels done here. And now we're going to go through the same process, and we're actually going to do a new color swatch again. And in this case, we're not going to use our process, but we're going to come in here and do spot color. And in this case, since the color type is spot, make sure that your color mode down here is set to Pantone plus metallic. Now you can see here we have a bunch of different books. We have the Toyo books, True Match books, web, process, colors. Most of these you'll use very selectively, and whoever your printer is will let you know exactly what kind of books that they adhere to. So for example, with Hederman Brothers and Ridgeland, we use the Pantone series. So in here we have what's called CYMK, coded, uncoded, again color rich, coded, uncoded, metallics, pastel, so on and so forth. And each one of these are actually different classes of ink. In this case, for this project, we want to use kind of a metallic color in the final print process. So we're going to do Pantone plus metallic coded. And you can see here, instead of being able to come through and select, you can see we actually have a lot of different swatches to choose from. And what this is Pantone already organizes all the colors very specifically in their books. So, as you can see on page 436, we need Pantone number 8660. So to get to that, just type in 8660, and you can see it pops up there, and it's kind of this this gold color. During the printing process, this would actually be substituted for something that was the same value and color, but it would have added metal flakes to this. And hit OK, and you can see we have Pantone 880 right here. Alright, so we've gone through, we've got all of our color swatches ready. We're going to go ahead and go through the next part, which is creating the poster background. So what we're going to do is first we're going to create a rectangle, and again to do that you can come in here and click your rectangle tool or hit M on your keyboard. And we're going to drag a rectangle that goes all the way from one bleed to the other. And we're going to make sure that this color is set as our rich black. Oop. And so that didn't quite go through because my swatches is actually in front of my stroke is actually in front of my swatch panel over here. So do make sure that over here in your toolbar underneath the magnifying glass that your swatches is set to front. So I'm going to come in here and turn that stroke off and then change my fill to black. Alright. So we can see over here, and you can see that we have our swatches set right here as well. Alright, so what we're going to do is we are going to come right over here, and we're going to select it just to make sure we're on here, and we are going to set our stroke. Now there's a couple different ways you can do this. For me, I always just go to my tool panel. This will always pop up whenever you have a rectangle that's already filled with a color. And right underneath this black here, which is our fill swatch, we have our stroke swatch. So we're going to come in here, and we're going to set this as that orange color, the custom orange swatch, the cyan 0, magenta 70, yellow 95. All right. We're going to set that, and then we're going to change the stroke width, weight to 6 points. To do that, just come up here where it says 1 point and go 1. Right, see, 0 makes it goes away, and then we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have this orange stroke on this black background. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we are going to come in, and you can either it's going to ask you to resize this to fit within your margins. So to do that, just bring in your arrows there, and bring in your rectangle over here, and you can see we now have this filled. If you hit W on your keyboard, you can actually get a quick print preview to see what this looks like. And you see that we have our orange stroke with our black fill. Alright, so now that we've done that, the last step in this video is we're going to define and apply a gradient swatch. So to do this, we are going to make sure that our rectangle is not selected, and go ahead and hit W again if you have that on. So we do not want to see the outlines over here, we just want to click it outside. And what we're going to do is we're going to come to Swatches, and we're going to go New Gradient Swatch. Alright, and here you can see that we have our yellow, and you can see over here that we are not our yellow but our white color in this part of the gradient ramp, and our black over here. This gradient ramp is a representation showing you you know, how dark or how the gradient will act and what different colors you have available in the swatch to use. So what we're going to do is we're going to start our stock color, and we're actually going to go to our swatches, and then we're going to come down here and grab our yellow, and then we're going to go to our black color over here, and we're going to replace this with our orange, our custom orange that we created. Alright, and we're going to make sure, we're going to name this from New Gradient Swatch to yellow to orange. Be sure that as you're going through and creating these custom gradient swatches that you do name them each time. It'll make it so much easier for you on the long run. Alright, and just hit OK. So you can see we have our yellow to orange now. Now using the selection tool, I want you to come in here and select your rectangle again. And we're going to make sure that we can either come over here and make sure that the fill icon is active by clicking it, or we can just come up here. And I want to choose to do the latter and come here and click yellow to orange. And you can see that we have replaced our black color with this gradient fill. Alright, so once we've done that, you can see now that we have our gradient swatch in place. We've gone through, we've learned how to create different swatches inside of InDesign. And now what I want you to do is I want you to try to work from page 441 to page 445 in your text. And so we're going to pick up on page 446 where we talk about adding a new graphic into your file.